My boyfriend, Ethan, is a married man, but I couldn't help but wonder, his wife is way finer than me. I mean, I saw her on social media, and she's stunning. Perfect makeup, perfect clothes, and everyone adores her. I started questioning myself. What does Ethan even see in me? So, one day, I asked him, and what he said shocked me. So, let me take you back a little. My name's Layla, and I'm dating Ethan. Now, from the outside, things seemed pretty normal. Ethan and I had been seeing each other for about a year, and honestly, he was perfect in every way I could think of. He was charming, loving, and always seemed to have time for me. He would tell me that I was the best part of his life, that I made him feel happy again after years of an unhappy marriage. He was affectionate, always saying things like, "You make me feel whole, Layla," and "I'm so lucky to have you." But here's the thing, Ethan was married. And when I first met him, I didn't know much about his wife. He would mention her occasionally, but he always made it sound like things weren't great between them. "We're just going through the motions," he'd say. "It's complicated, but we're not really happy anymore." I wasn't exactly naive though. I knew what it was. I wasn't the only one involved. But at the time, I didn't really mind. Ethan told me he wanted to be out of the marriage, and he wanted me to be a part of his life. But there was always that nagging feeling in the back of my mind. You see, when someone tells you they're in an unhappy marriage, you start to wonder if there's more to the story. And let's face it, there's always more to the story, isn't there? So I decided to ignore it. I told myself, maybe he just needs time. Maybe I'm the one who'll help him find his happiness again. But then, everything changed one weekend. I don't know why I did it, but one evening while we were scrolling through our phones, I got curious. I wanted to know more about his wife. I'd never really looked at her pictures before. I guess a part of me was just too scared to face the truth. But this time, I went to her profile. And there she was. Let me tell you, this woman was perfect. Her skin was flawless. Her hair looked like it was always done by the best stylist in town. Her fashion, on point. Every single picture looked like it was professionally taken. She was radiating confidence, and people loved her. The comments on her posts were endless. People calling her goals, queen, and beautiful. I couldn't stop scrolling. It was like I was hypnotized. With each picture, I felt more and more insignificant. She had it all. And here I was, sitting in front of my phone, looking at this woman who seemed to have the perfect life. The kind of life I thought I could never compete with. What does Ethan see in me? The question hit me like a ton of bricks. I started to compare myself to her. She was elegant, poised, confident, everything I wasn't. My wardrobe didn't compare to hers. I could barely manage to do my makeup half as well as she did. And her smile? It lit up every room she walked into. Meanwhile, I was just me. I spent hours on her profile. At first, it was just curiosity, but by the end of it, I felt awful. Like, who was I kidding? I didn't belong in Ethan's world. I wasn't good enough for him. Sure, he said he loved me, but how could he? Look at her. She was everything I wasn't. She was the kind of woman who could make anyone feel small in comparison. And there I was, wondering why Ethan chose me over her. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror anymore without thinking about her. She was everywhere, on my phone, in my mind. And the worst part was, I started to doubt Ethan's feelings for me. I wondered if maybe he was just with me because he couldn't be with her. What if he was just looking for a distraction from his real life? That's when I started making irrational decisions. Little things, at first, like scrolling through her social media every day, just to compare. I would even joke about it with Ethan, but there was something deeper going on. I'd say things like, "You know, your wife sure knows how to dress. Maybe I should take some notes." But I wasn't joking. I was just too scared to admit what I was really thinking. And then, one night, after an exhausting week of second-guessing myself, I did it. I asked him. I don't know what came over me, but in that moment, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I couldn't keep pretending like I wasn't thinking about her. I needed answers. "Ethan," I started, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't get it. Your wife, she's beautiful. I mean, look at her. She has everything. And then there's me. I'm not like her at all. What do you see in me? Why are you with me when she's out there being perfect?" For a second, there was complete silence. Ethan didn't get defensive. He didn't yell at me or brush it off. He just looked at me. And for the first time in a long while, I saw the sincerity in his eyes. "Layla," he said softly, "I'm with you because I see something in you that no one else does. You're real. You're different. You're not trying to be anyone else. That's what I need." His words hit me harder than I expected. The insecurities I had been carrying around for weeks suddenly felt like they didn't matter anymore. I was enough. I wasn't perfect, but I didn't have to be. And the best part? Ethan didn't want perfect. He wanted me, the real me. The weight I had been carrying all week just melted away. I was so focused on comparing myself to someone else that I forgot to appreciate what I had in front of me. Ethan loved me because I was genuine, not because I looked like someone else. After that conversation, everything changed. I stopped looking at his wife's pictures. I stopped comparing myself to someone I didn't even know. I started seeing myself through Ethan's eyes, and honestly, it was freeing. I realized that I didn't need to fit into anyone else's mold. I was already enough. After Ethan reassured me, things seemed to go back to normal. Well, for a while anyway, but I couldn't shake that feeling. You know, the one where your thoughts keep spiraling, even when everything seems fine on the surface. I kept telling myself that Ethan was mine, that he had chosen me. But the more I tried to believe it, the more something gnawed at me in the back of my mind. Let me rewind for a second. Ethan's wife Sarah was always there in the background, like this looming figure I couldn't escape. I tried not to think about her, but she was always a part of the conversation. Ethan would talk about their past, their history, as if he was still mourning something. I could hear the way his voice softened when he mentioned her, and it made me wonder, was he still in love with her? And it wasn't just his words, it was the little things. One night, we were hanging out, laughing about something random, when Ethan's phone buzzed. He quickly glanced at the screen, his expression changing just slightly. It wasn't much, but I noticed. His finger hovered over the screen, and for a moment, I could see the name that popped up, Sarah. My heart sank. I wanted to ask what it was about, but I didn't. Instead, I pretended I didn't see anything. But inside, I was screaming. Why does she still have this effect on him? Why does her name make him pause? Later that night, I found myself scrolling through Instagram, doing my usual mindless scrolling. But then, something caught my eye, something that made my stomach drop. A comment on one of Sarah's posts from a mutual friend. It read, "So glad to see you two back together. Can't wait for the reunion party." Back together? I stopped mid-scroll, staring at those words. Back together? What did that even mean? Were they still working things out? Or had Ethan been lying to me? He had always said things were bad between them, that they were on the verge of ending things for good. But this comment didn't fit the story he'd been telling me. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. Maybe I'd been wrong all along. Maybe this wasn't as simple as I thought. Maybe I was just a temporary escape for Ethan, a placeholder while he figured things out with his wife. But here's where it gets weird. The next day, I was talking to one of Ethan's good friends, Jake. He's the kind of guy who always seems to know what's going on, and I'd grown comfortable enough around him to ask a few questions. He wasn't the type to sugarcoat things, so I figured he'd tell me the truth, even if it was uncomfortable. "So Jake," I started, "how do you think Ethan's doing? I mean, with everything going on, with Sarah and all that?" Jake looked at me for a long moment, almost like he was deciding how much to say. Then he sighed, shaking his head. "Ethan's a good guy, Layla. He's been through a lot with Sarah. I don't know the full story, but he's not over her. Not really. He's just trying to make things work with you because, well, he needs something right now." His words hit me like a punch to the stomach. He's not over her. That one sentence rattled me to my core. Everything Ethan had told me suddenly felt like a lie. Was I just a way for him to fill the void? Was he using me as a distraction until he could go back to Sarah? The doubt started to spread, slowly at first, like a crack in the wall. It wasn't just the comment I saw on Sarah's post, or the pause when her name came up in conversation. It was everything. The way he sometimes mentioned their past, the lingering touch when he talked about home. It was like he was still holding on to something, and I couldn't figure out if it was me or her. I started to pay closer attention. I noticed the way Ethan's eyes would light up when he saw a message from her. He wouldn't tell me what it was about, but I saw the smile on his face. I wanted to believe that it was just about logistics, shared responsibilities, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like something else. And then there was that weekend. Ethan had to go out of town for work, and for the first time in months, I had some time alone. I didn't know what came over me, but I found myself going back to Sarah's Instagram. I know, it was wrong, but I couldn't stop myself. I had to know. That's when I found something that hit me like a freight train. A picture of Sarah and Ethan together, laughing, holding hands, looking happy. The caption? "We're making it work, one day at a time." One day at a time? I felt like the ground had shifted beneath me. Ethan had told me that he was done with her, that their marriage was over. But here, in black and white, was proof that they were still connected, more connected than he had let on. I didn't know what to do with this information. It didn't feel like a coincidence anymore. I felt like I had been played. And then, when Ethan came back, he seemed off. He wasn't himself, distracted, almost like he was avoiding me. When we talked, it felt forced, like we were going through the motions. I wanted to ask him about the picture, the caption, the comment, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. What if he told me the truth? What if I didn't like what I heard? What if everything I feared was real? And so, here I am, standing at a crossroads. I'm stuck in this place of confusion, caught between the love I feel for Ethan and the doubts that are slowly consuming me. Is he really with me because he loves me, or am I just a stopgap? A way to pass the time until he figures things out with his wife? Should I continue to date him, or should I stop? Is he using me to spend some time and then go back to his beautiful wife? I just don't know anymore. Let me hear from you in the comments section. And please, don't forget to support us by subscribing too. Thank you for watching.